You are sitting in a chair right now, climate controlled, electrically lit, structurally sound, safer than any human being has ever been in the entire history of your species. You have food within 30 seconds of wherever you are. You are not being hunted. There is no predator outside your door. The probability that you will be physically attacked today is lower than it has ever been for any human who has ever lived. And yet something in you is anxious. Maybe it is the news. Maybe it is a conversation you keep replaying. Maybe it is a vague, sourceless dread that settles over you in the quiet moments. Maybe it is the way you cannot stop checking your phone, scanning your notifications, looking for threats in comments and emails and the expressions on strangers' faces. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are running software that is 40,000 years out of date. Your brain did not evolve for the world you live in. It evolved for a world that no longer exists. And it is doing exactly what it was built to do, in an environment it was never designed for. That mismatch is the most important thing you will ever understand about yourself. Start with a number. Your brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons. Those neurons are firing in patterns shaped by millions of years of evolution. But here's the thing about evolution. It is extraordinarily slow. It does not respond to decades. It barely responds to centuries. The changes that shaped your brain happened across geological time. Hundreds of thousands of years of selection pressure in environments radically different from your living room. Neuroscientist David Eagleman describes the brain as running on hardware that was finalized long before the modern world existed. The core architecture, the emotional systems, the threat detection circuits, the social monitoring machinery, was set in place before writing, before agriculture, before cities, before electricity, before every single thing that defines the world you actually live in. You are not a modern mind. You are an ancient mind in a modern world. And that ancient mind has one primary job: not happiness, not fulfillment, not meaning, survival. Everything your brain does, every shortcut it takes, every assumption it makes, every fear it generates, is ultimately in service of keeping you alive long enough to pass on your genes. That was the only metric that mattered across the millions of years that built you. So what did that environment actually look like? And why does it still drive you? Your ancestors lived in small bands, typically between 50 and 150 people. This number is not arbitrary. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar studied primate brain size and group size across dozens of species and found a consistent relationship. The larger the neocortex relative to the rest of the brain, the larger the stable social group the animal maintains. For humans, that calculation lands at roughly 150. This is now called Dunbar's number. 150 people. That was your entire social world. Everyone who mattered. Everyone who could help you or hurt you. Everyone whose opinion of you had direct consequences for your survival. In that world, being socially excluded was not a minor inconvenience. It was a death sentence. Alone, outside the group, on the African savanna, you died. It was that simple. Your brain learned this lesson so deeply that it wired social rejection directly into the pain system. In 2003, neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger published a landmark study at UCLA using fMRI scanning to watch what happens in the brain when people are socially excluded, specifically when they were left out of a simple computer game. The result was startling. The same regions of the brain that process physical pain, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula, lit up when people were socially excluded. Your brain does not distinguish between a broken bone and being left out of a group chat. To your ancient threat detection system, they register as the same category of emergency. This is why social media is so consuming. This is why a single critical comment can ruin your entire day, while dozens of positive ones barely register. Your brain is scanning your social environment with the same intensity it once scanned the savannah for lions. It is monitoring who likes you, who is pulling away, who might turn the group against you. Because in the environment it was built for, those signals were literally matters of life and death. Now think about what the modern world has done with this system. You now have access to the opinions of millions of strangers. You carry a device in your pocket that delivers social feedback in real time, 24 hours a day. Your ancient brain, built to monitor 150 people, is now trying to process the social dynamics of the entire internet. No wonder it is exhausted. No wonder anxiety disorders are at historic highs. You gave a system designed for a village the inputs of a civilization. But the social monitoring is only one part of it. Your brain also has a threat detection system so finely tuned it borders on paranoid. It is called the negativity bias, and it is one of the most powerful forces shaping your daily experience. Psychologist Roy Baumeister reviewed decades of research in 2001 and concluded that bad events, bad emotions, and bad feedback consistently have a stronger effect on people than equivalent good ones. You remember insults longer than compliments. You think about losses longer than equivalent gains. You notice what is wrong in a situation before you notice what is right. This is not pessimism. This is survival engineering. In the ancestral environment, the cost of ignoring a threat was death. The cost of ignoring a reward was just a missed meal. Asymmetric consequences produced asymmetric attention. Your brain evolved to weight negative information more heavily than positive information, and it still does in every environment, regardless of whether the stakes are your life or a work email. This is why the news is the way it is. Threat captures attention. Bad news spreads faster, gets clicked more, gets remembered longer. Your brain is not being manipulated by cynical media companies. Well, it is, but only because those companies figured out how your ancient threat detection system works and built their business models around it. They did not create the negativity bias. They just learned to exploit it. Now add one more layer. The system that generates anxiety in your brain. The amygdala cannot distinguish between a physical threat and a psychological one. It cannot tell the difference between a lion outside your cave and a difficult conversation you need to have. It cannot tell the difference between a snake in the grass and a notification on your phone. What it can do is trigger the same physiological response to all of them. Cortisol, adrenaline, elevated heart rate, tunnel vision. The full stress response, originally designed to help you sprint away from a predator, activating because you got a passive-aggressive email from your manager. Psychologist Kelly McGonigal at Stanford has spent years studying the human stress response and its relationship to modern threats. Her research shows that the stress response itself is not the problem. It is a powerful adaptation. The problem is chronic activation. In the ancestral environment, the threat passed. The lion ran or did not. The crisis resolved. Your body returned to baseline. In the modern world, the threats never fully resolve. The inbox is never empty. The news cycle never stops. The social comparison never ends. Your stress system activates and activates and activates with nowhere to discharge. That is not a character flaw. That is a 40,000-year-old alarm system going off in a world where the emergencies never fully end. And yet knowing this changes things. When you understand that your brain's negativity bias is not a bug, but a feature designed for an environment that no longer exists, you can start to work with it instead of being blindly driven by it. When you understand that your social anxiety is not weakness but an ancient survival system responding to perceived exclusion, you can acknowledge it without being controlled by it. When you understand that your inability to stop checking the news or your phone is not lack of discipline, but a threat detection system running at full capacity on inputs it was never designed to process, you can make different choices. You live in the safest, most comfortable, most medically advanced moment in all of human history. Your brain has not received that memo. It is still scanning the horizon for predators that are not there, still monitoring the group for signs of rejection, still weighting every threat as if survival itself is at stake. You are sitting in a chair right now, climate-controlled, electrically lit, safer than any human who has ever lived. Your brain thinks you are in a cave. And until you understand that, really understand it, it will keep running the old program. The one that kept your ancestors alive. The one that was never designed for you.